The glass hits the counter hard enough to crack. Naomi Red doesn't flinch. Her hands keep moving, wiping down the mahogany bar in slow, deliberate circles, even as the two officers lean closer. Their badges catch the amber light filtering through Bar Verona's smoke-stained windows. Rain hammers against the glass outside, but inside, the air has gone still. Too still. Officer Riker slams his palm down again. "You hear me talking to you?" She does. Everyone does. The jazz piano in the corner has faded to nothing. Conversations die Mitsentense. Phones come out, angled low, trying to look casual. 20 pairs of eyes watch from shadowed booths, but no one moves. No one ever does. Naomi's fingers tighten around the bar rack. Her knuckles go pale. "I'm working, sir. Can I get you something?" Officer Hale laughs. It's the kind of sound that makes skin crawl. "Working? That's cute." He leans over the counter, his breath thick with whiskey that wasn't purchased here. "You fit a description. Suspicious behavior. Loitering. I work here. Don't get smart with me." Her jaw sets. She's 26 years old, and she's heard this script before. Different faces, same words. Her red uniform dress with its white trim feels too bright under their stares, like she's wearing Target. The apron strings dig into her waist. She forces her breathing to stay even, but her heart is hammering against her ribs hard enough to hurt. "Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." Riker straightens, hooking his thumbs into his belt. "Maybe you don't understand how this works. When an officer of the law asks you a question, you answer. With respect. I'm being respectful. You're being mouthy." His voice rises. Heads turn. "You people think you can talk back now? Think those phones protect you?" The words land like a slap. "You people." The bar inhales as one. Someone's chair scrapes. A woman near the window whispers something sharp to her date. The bartender 2 stations down freezes, bottle mid-pour. Naomi's hands have stopped moving. She stares at Riker, then at Hale, and something shifts behind her eyes. Not defiance exactly. Something quieter. Older. The kind of tired that comes from years of swallowing words that burn on the way down. "I haven't done anything wrong." Hadisnorts. That attitude right there, that's the problem. You think you're untouchable because you're in some fancy bar wearing a cute outfit. He reaches across the counter, flicking the edge of her apron. "Smile when you talk to the law, sweetheart." Makes everything easier. Her stomach twists. She wants to step back, but there's nowhere to go. The liquor shelves press against her spine. The mirror behind them reflects her face, pale and tight, and the 2 men boxing her in like wolves cornering prey. And she feels it. A shift in the air. A pressure drop, like the moment before lightning strikes. In the farthest booth, where the light never quite reaches, a man sets down his glass. The sound is soft, almost gentle, but somehow it cuts through every conversation, every breath, every heartbeat in the room. Dominic Vale doesn't stand yet. He just shifts forward, elbows resting on the table, and the tattoos peeking from his collar seem to darken in the low light. His suit is black, perfectly tailored. His face is all hard angles and winter eyes. He's been sitting there for 20 minutes, unnoticed, watching Naomi work the way he always does. But now he's watching the officers. Riker doesn't see him. He's too busy enjoying the power trip. "You know what? I think we need to take you down to the station. Ask you some questions. Make sure everything's in order with your employment status. Is there a problem here?" The voice is quiet, low, but it slices through Riker's monologue like a blade through silk. Both officers turn. The bar turns with them. Dominic is standing now. 6'3" of controlled violence wrapped in expensive fabric. He moves toward the bar slowly, hands loose at his sides, his gaze locked on the 2 men like a predator deciding whether to strike or savor the fear first. Riker puffs up, try to reclaim the moment. "Stay out of this, pal. Police business." Dominic stops 3 feet away, close enough to smell the cheap cologne and stale coffee on them. His expression doesn't change. Didn't look like police business. Looked like harassment. "Excuse me? You heard me." The air between them crackles. Hale's hand drifts toward his belt, toward the holster riding his hip. Dominic notices. Of course he does. He notices everything. A smile ghosts across his mouth, there and gone in a heartbeat. And somehow that's more terrifying than any threat. Naomi's voice comes out smaller than she wants. Dominic. He raises one hand, not to silence her, just to say, I've got this. His eyes never leave the officers. Riker tries to stare him down and fails. This doesn't concern you, unless you want to make it concern you. Funny thing about that, Dominic reaches into his jacket. Every muscle in the room tenses. Hale's hand closes around his gun grip. Someone gasps. Naomi's breath stops in her throat. The phone's recording from the shadows zoom in, capturing every second, every angle. But Dominic doesn't pull a weapon. He pulls out his phone. Would you stay silent if someone you cared about was cornered like this? Drop your answer below, and if stories like this grip you, hit subscribe before you see what happens next. The man who would later make headlines never asked Naomi her name the first time they met. It was 3 months ago, October, the kind of night where Chicago's South Side felt like a locked door with no key. Naomi's shift had ended at 2 in the morning, and she walked 6 blocks with her keys threaded between her knuckles and her phone in her other hand, 119 already dialed, thumb hovering over the call button. The street lights hummed overhead. Half of them were broken. City maintenance hadn't bothered with this neighborhood in years. Her sneakers slapped against wet pavement. Her bag dug into her shoulder, heavy with the night's tips. $37. Barely enough to cover the electric bill. She didn't hear him behind her until he spoke. You dropped this. Naomi spun, harder throat, keys up like claws. The man standing there didn't move, just held out a crumpled napkin, her name scrawled across it in her own handwriting. She'd been using it to tally tips during her break. Must have fallen when she shoved everything into her bag. He was tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of build that came from work, not a gym. His suit looked expensive even in the broken light. Black on black on black. His face was hard to read, all shadows and sharp edges, but his eyes caught her. Pale, cold, the kind of eyes that saw too much and forgot nothing. I thank you. She took the napkin, fingers shaking. You didn't have to follow me. Wasn't following, heading the same direction. A lie. She could tell, but he said it so calmly that it almost sounded true. They stood there in the space between streetlights, rain starting to fall again in fine, misty sheets. Naomi should have walked away. Every instinct her grandmother drilled into her screamed danger. Strange men on dark streets offering help never ended well. But something in his posture stopped her. He kept his distance, hands visible, no sudden movements, like he understood exactly how scared she was and was trying very hard not to make it worse. You work at Verona. Not a question. How did you? Saw you there last week. You pour my coffee. She didn't remember. Customers blurred together after the 100th smile, forced through exhaustion. Oh, right. Silence stretched between them. A car passed, headlights sweeping over them both before disappearing into the dark. The rain picked up. Naomi shifted her weight, trying to decide if this was the part where she ran or the part where she asked the logical question. He beat her to it. You walk this route every night. It's the fastest way home. It's also the most dangerous. He said it flat. Matter of fact. No judgment, just observation. 3 muggings in the last month. 2 assaults. The city doesn't care because it's this neighborhood. She finished the sentence with an edge of bitterness. I know, but I can't afford a car, and the bus doesn't run this late, so. He studied her, not the way men usually did, not sizing her up or undressing her with his eyes. More like he was reading a book and trying to figure out which chapter to start with. Then he pulled a card from his pocket. Plain white. No logo, just a phone number in black ink. You need a safer walk home, call that number. I'll send someone. Naomi stared at the card. Why would you do that? Because no one else will. The answer was too honest, too raw. It hit her somewhere in the chest, in the place where all her anger and fear and exhaustion lived. She took the card, held it between 2 fingers like it might burn. I don't even know your name. Dominic. He stepped back, putting more space between them. And I already know yours, Naomi read. From the napkin. Before she could respond, he turned and walked away, disappeared into the rain like smoke, left her standing there with a business card, her heart pounding for entirely different reasons now, and a strange feeling she couldn't name curling warm in her stomach. She used the number 4 nights later when a man started following her from the bar. The car arrived in 3 minutes. Black sedan, tinted windows, driver in a suit who nodded once and drove her straight to her apartment without asking questions. The 5th time she called, Dominic picked up himself. That was the night she learned his last name wasn't just Vale. It was a warning. Naomi saw him again on a Tuesday. Bar Verona was empty except for 2 regulars nursing bourbon in the back and an older woman reading a paperback near the window. The kind of night where time moved like cold honey. Slow, sticky, every minute stretching into 3. She was wiping down the espresso machine when the door opened. Dominic stepped inside, rain dripping from his coat, his eyes scanning the room once before settling on her. He moved to the far end of the bar. The corner seat. Always the corner. Coffee. Black. Naomi grabbed a mug, trying not to let her hands shake. She'd been thinking about him since that night, wondering if she'd imagined the whole thing. Rich men didn't just hand out protection like business cards. They didn't care about waitresses walking home through bad neighborhoods. But here he was. Real. Solid. Clothes enough that she could smell rain and something darker. Expensive cologne maybe, or just the weight of whatever life he lived outside these walls. She poured. Set the mug down. You didn't have to keep checking on me. Wasn't checking. Just wanted coffee. Another lie. Softer this time. She almost smiled. At midnight, in a bar that charges $8 for coffee, you could get it any diner for 2. Quality matters. It's the same beans. Now he did smile. Barely. Just a twitch at the corner of his mouth. You always this argumentative with customers. Only the ones who lie about why they're here. The smile vanished. His eyes went sharp, assessing. Like he was recalculating something. You're observant. I have to be. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed, trying to look braver than she felt. So are you going to tell me the truth, or do I have to guess? Dominic lifted the mug. Took a sip. Didn't answer right away. The silence should have been uncomfortable, but somehow it wasn't. It was just there, filling the space between them with something heavier than words. Finally, your grandmother raised you. Naomi blinked. Ow! You said, have to be like survival was a lesson, not something you learned, something you were taught. He set the mug down, and the way you hold yourself, like you're used to being the smallest person in a room, but refusing to shrink. Her throat tightened. You guessed that from pouring coffee? I noticed things. She stopped. Started again. That's kind of creepy. Probably. No apology. Just acknowledgement. They looked at each other. The bar's ambient noise faded into background static. The bourbon drinkers. The rain. The hum of the refrigerator behind her. All of it distant. Unimportant. Naomi should have walked away. Should have told him to finish his coffee and leave. But her feet stayed planted. Her hands stayed still. And when she spoke again, her voice came out quieter. Why do you care? Dominic's expression shifted, not softening exactly, more like something cracking beneath the surface. Because most people don't, and you deserve better than that. The words landed like a gift she didn't know how to accept. She'd spent years being invisible, being ignored, being talked over and looked through like furniture. And here was this stranger. This dangerous, intense, clearly not what it seemed stranger, telling her she mattered. It terrified her. It also made her want to cry. She cleared her throat. I don't even know what you do. For work, I mean. Better if you don't. That's not ominous at all. He almost laughed. The sound was rough, like he wasn't used to it. I handle problems. For people who can't handle them themselves. That's vague. It's accurate. Naomi studied him. The scars on his knuckles. The way his jacket hung loose enough to hide something at his hip. The weight in his shoulders that came from carrying too much for too long. She wasn't stupid. She knew men like this didn't work in offices or answer to managers. But she also knew the way he looked at her. Like she was something precious. Something worth protecting. Are you dangerous? She asked. Yes. No hesitation. No sugarcoating. Should I be scared of you? No. This time he hesitated. Just a fraction. Not of me. The distinction mattered. She heard it in the space between his words. He was dangerous to others. Not to her. Never to her. Her phone buzzed. A text from her roommate asking if she'd be home soon. Naomi glanced at it, then back at Dominic. I should probably. Let me walk you home. You don't have to. I know. He stood, pulling cash from his wallet. 3 20s for an $8 coffee. But I'm going to anyway. They walked 6 blocks in comfortable silence. The rain had stopped. The streets gleamed black under flickering lights. Naomi's apartment building rose ahead, crumbling brick and rusted fire escapes. But Dominic didn't look at it like it was broken. He just looked at her. At her door, she turned. Thank you. For everything. Don't thank me yet. Why not? His expression darkened. Because the people I protect tend to need protecting from things they didn't see coming. Before she could ask what that meant, he was gone, walking back into the Chicago night like a ghost, like something that existed only in the spaces between streetlights. Naomi stood there, key in hand, heart pounding. That night she dreamed of winter eyes and a voice saying, "Don't mistake silence for weakness." The truth came 3 weeks later over burnt toast and morning coffee. Naomi's apartment was small, cramped, the kind of place where 2 people felt like 6. But it was hers. She'd painted the walls herself, pale yellow, like sunlight. Her grandmother always said yellow kept the darkness out. Dominic sat at her kitchen table looking out of place in the best way. Too big for the chair, too expensive for the chipped mugs she'd thrifted. But he'd shown up at 7 in the morning with pastries from a bakery that didn't exist in her neighborhood, and she'd been too surprised to say no. Now they sat across from each other while rain drummed against the window. He hadn't touched the food. Just watched her eat with that same intense focus that made her feel seen and exposed all at once. "You're staring," she said around a mouthful of croissant. "You're interesting. I'm a waitress who can't afford heat in winter. That's not interesting. That's just Chicago. You're more than that." She set down the pastry. "Am I? Because from where I'm sitting, I'm exactly what I look like. Broke, tired, invisible. Not to me." The words hung between them. Heavy, honest. Naomi felt something twist in her chest. She'd been alone for so long. Years of working double shifts and swallowing insults and pretending it didn't hurt when customers left 10% tips and sneered about her attitude. And here was this man, this strange, dangerous, unfairly handsome man, acting like she was worth something. "Who are you really?" she asked. Dominic's jaw tightened. "You sure you want that answer? Would I have asked if I wasn't?" He stood, walked to the window, stared out at the gray morning like he was calculating risk versus reward. When he finally spoke, his voice was flat, stripped of emotion. "My name is Dominic Vale. I run the South Side. Not officially. The city doesn't acknowledge men like me exist. But every deal made, every shipment moved, every problem solved between the docks and downtown goes through me first." Naomi's hand stilled on her mug. "You're Mafia, crime lord, syndicate boss. Pick your term." He turned to face her. "The FBI calls me the ghost of Chicago because I've never been photographed, never been caught. I've been operating for 8 years, and they still can't prove I exist." Her brain stuttered. "Try to process. Failed. You're telling me you're a criminal. I'm telling you I'm the criminal. The one every other crew answers to. The one politicians call when they need something buried. The one who makes people disappear when they cross the wrong line." She should have been terrified. Should have thrown him out. Called the cops. Run. But all she felt was a strange, numb calm. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you asked." He moved closer. Not threatening. Just present. "And because I'm tired of lying to you. You could have just not told me. I would have believed you were some businessman or... I don't lie to people I care about." The sentence stopped her cold. Care about. He said it so casually, like it was fact, like she was already carved into whatever life he led outside this apartment, and there was no point pretending otherwise. Naomi stood. Her legs felt shaky. "You kill people. Yes, you hurt people. When necessary. And you're sitting in my kitchen eating pastries like this is normal. Nothing about this is normal." He took one step forward. Just one. "But I stopped pretending to be something I'm not the day I met you." Her back hit the counter. Not because he'd pushed. Because she'd retreated without thinking. Her heart hammered. Her hands trembled. But underneath the fear was something else. Something warm and dangerous and entirely too complicated. I should tell you to leave. You should. I should never talk to you again. Probably smart. So why aren't you leaving? Dominic's expression cracked. Just for a second. Long enough for her to see the man beneath the monster. Tired. Lonely. Human. Because for 8 years I've lived in the dark. And then you walked in my line of sight and I couldn't look away. His voice dropped. Rough. Raw. I've done terrible things, Naomi. Things I can't take back. But I swear on everything I have left, you will never be one of them. She believed him. God help her, she believed him. Even monsters need someone to come home to, she whispered. His eyes widened, like she'd said something profound instead of just desperate. He reached out slowly, giving her time to move away. She didn't. His hand cupped her face. Warm. Steady. I'll protect you, he said. From everything. Including me. Naomi leaned into his palm. I don't need protecting from you. You might. Someday. Then I'll deal with it someday. They stood there in her tiny kitchen while rain blurred the windows and the coffee went cold. Two people who shouldn't fit. Who shouldn't work. Who made sense only in the space they carved out together. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. 3 more times. Finally he pulled back, jaw tight. I have to go. Work. The kind of work I don't ask about. Yeah. She walked him to the door. Watched him shrug on his coat. He paused in the doorway, one hand on the frame, looking back at her like he was memorizing the moment. Naomi. Yeah. If anyone ever threatens you. Anyone. You call me immediately. Something in his tone made her skin prickle. Dominic, what? Promise me. I promise. He nodded once. Then he was gone. Naomi locked the door behind him, leaned against it, tried to process what just happened. She'd fallen for a criminal. The worst kind. The kind who ran entire networks and answered to no one. She should have been horrified. Instead, she felt safe for the first time in years. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Hello. Heavy breathing. Then a voice. Low. Male. Threatening. She's being watched. The line went dead. Friday night arrives with violence waiting in its back pocket. Bar Verona is packed. Wall-to-wall bodies. Laughter too loud. Music too soft. The kind of crowd that tips well when drunk and tips nothing when sober. Naomi moves between tables like water, balancing trays, forcing smiles, ignoring the hands that graze her hips when she squeezes past. She hasn't told Dominic about the call, the threat, the voice that said she's being watched. She tells herself it was a prank. Wrong number. Coincidence. But her hands shake when she pours drinks. Her eyes keep flicking to the door. 10 o'clock. The rush peaks. Orders pile up. Her feet ache. Her manager barks about table 7, wanting their check 5 minutes ago. She moves faster, smiles wider, swallows the exhaustion climbing up her throat. That's when they walk in. Officer Riker. Officer Hale. She recognizes them before they reach the bar. Their uniforms are too clean, too pressed, like they spent more time in front of mirrors than on patrol. They swagger through the crowd, badges catching light, hands resting on belts heavy with equipment meant to intimidate. They take seats directly in front of her station. Naomi's stomach drops. She glances toward the manager's office. Empty. She looks for Marco, the other bartender. He's buried under orders at the far end. She's alone. Riker drums his fingers on the bar. Service here always this slow? She grabs a towel, wipes down the already clean counter. I'll be right with you. That's what they all say. Hale laughs. It's the sound of men who've never been told no, who've never faced consequences. Naomi knows the type. She's served them for years. She approaches, pulls out her order pad. What can I get you? Riker leans back, studies her like she's evidence. You work here long? Long enough. What would you like to drink? Answer the question first. Her jaw tightens. 2 years. Now can I take your order? 2 years. He exchanges a look with Hale. Funny. You look familiar. Like maybe I've seen you somewhere. Maybe in a report. The threat is barely veiled. Naomi's pulse kicks up. Around them, conversations continue. People laughing. Drinking. Oblivious. I've never been in a police report. Not yet. Hale grins. But the night's still young. She sets down her pad. I can get you drinks, or you can leave. Your choice. The words come out braver than she feels. Riker's expression hardens. Hale stops smiling. The air between them shifts. Gets colder. Sharper. Attitude problem, Riker says slowly. I knew it. I don't have an. You fit a description. He pulls out his phone. Scrolls through something she can't see. Suspicious individual. Loitering. Possible theft. Her blood turns to ice. That's not true. Says here it is. He shows her the screen. Blank. Nothing on it. Just his reflection and hers, and the lie hanging between them like smoke. Naomi's hands curl into fists. You're making this up. Careful. Hale leans forward. Accusing an officer is a serious charge. Around them, people are starting to notice. Phones come out. Angled low. Trying to look casual while recording everything. The bar's noise dims. Shifts. Becomes an audience instead of a crowd. Her manager appears from the back. Takes one look at the scene and retreats. Doesn't intervene. Doesn't help. Just disappears like smoke. Naomi is alone. Riker stands. Moves around the bar toward her side. She backs up, but there's nowhere to go. The liquor shelves press against her spine. He's close enough now that she can smell his cologne. Cheap. Overpowering. Here's how this works, he says quietly. Just for her. You apologize for the attitude. You smile real nice. And maybe we forget about filing that report. I didn't do anything. That's not how we see it. Hale joins him. 2 uniforms. 2 badges. 2 guns holster at their sides. The power imbalance is staggering. Total. She's a waitress in a red dress arguing with armed authority. She should back down. Should apologize. Should do whatever keeps her safe. But something in her, something tired of bending, tired of breaking, refuses. No. The word falls like a stone. Riker's eyes narrow. What did you just say? I said no. I'm not apologizing for doing my job. I haven't broken any laws. And if you want to file a false report, go ahead. But I'm not playing this game. Hale's hand drifts to his belt. Not his gun, but close enough. You sure you want to make this difficult? Her heart is trying to climb out her chest. Her hands won't stop shaking, but her voice stays steady. I'm sure I want you to either order something or leave. Riker's face flushes. Anger. Humiliation. The crowd is watching now. Really watching. Phones recording. Witnesses accumulating. And he's losing control of the narrative. He slams his palm on the counter. Glasses jump. Liquid sloshes. Maybe you don't understand who you're talking to. I understand perfectly. Then you understand we can make your life very difficult. Very fast. Are you threatening me? I'm informing you of consequences. The distinction is meaningless. They both know it. This is about power. About putting her in her place. About reminding her that badges and guns and authority always win. Except, from the far corner of the bar, a chair scrapes. The sound cuts through everything. Conversations. Music. Breathing. Naomi's eyes snap toward the source. Dominic Vale stands slowly. His black suit absorbs the light. His expression is carved from winter. He doesn't say anything yet. Just stands there, watching, calculating. In every instinct Naomi has screams that something terrible is about to happen. What would you do if you saw someone you care about cornered like this? Stay silent or step in? Drop your answer below. And if this story has you hooked, smash that subscribe button before you see what Dominic does next. Dominic crosses the room in 5 seconds flat. His footsteps don't echo, don't announce. He just moves through the crowd like smoke passing through glass. People step aside without thinking, without looking. Some primal instinct telling them to get out of the way. Officer Riker doesn't notice until Dominic is 3 feet behind him. Is there a problem here? The voice is quiet, low, but it cuts through the bar noise like a knife through paper. Riker spins, his hand already moving toward his holster on reflex. Hale turns slower, sizing up the threat. Both officers straighten, puff up, 2 roosters squaring off against a wolf. Riker recovers first. This doesn't concern you, pal. Back off. Dominic doesn't move. His eyes flick to Naomi once. Just once. Checking for damage. For fear. For anything that needs addressing. She's pressed against the liquor shelves, her red uniform too bright against the dark wood. Her hands white-knuckled on the counter edge. Their gazes lock for half a heartbeat. He sees everything in that moment. The fear she's trying to hide, the exhaustion, the quiet rage of someone who's been pushed too far for too long. And something else. Something that looks like relief mixed with terror, because she knows what he's capable of, and she's not sure she wants him to stop. Dominic turns back to the officers. His expression hasn't changed. Still carved from ice. Still unreadable. Actually, it does concern me. He places one hand on the bar. Casual. Almost relaxed. See, that's my friend you're harassing. Harassing. Hale laughs. We're conducting an investigation. Into what? A waitress doing her job? That's police business. Then show me the warrant. The complaint. The probable cause. Dominic's voice never rises. Never shifts. Just stays flat and deadly calm. Or admit you walked in here looking to exercise power over someone who can't fight back. The bar has gone silent. 20 conversations dead. 50 people watching. Phones everywhere now, recording from every angle. This moment is being archived in real time. Evidence. Witnesses. Truth. Riker's jaw clenches. You need to step back. Make me. The challenge hangs in the air. Simple. Direct. Loaded with violence that hasn't happened yet, but feels inevitable. Naomi finds her voice. Dominic, don't. Go in the back. He doesn't look at her. Keeps his eyes locked on Riker. You don't need to see this. I'm not leaving. Now he does look. Turns his head just enough to catch her in his peripheral vision. And something in his expression softens. Not much. Just a fraction. Enough to show her he's not angry she stayed. Just worried. Then stay behind me. She doesn't move. Can't. Her feet have forgotten how. But she leans slightly to the left, putting him between her and the officers. Letting him be the shield he's desperate to be. Hale takes a step forward. Listen, friend. I don't know who you think you are. Dominic Vale. The name drops like a bomb. Hale freezes mid-sentence. Riker's face goes pale. Around them, people start whispering. Some know the name. Most don't. But everyone can read the room. Can see the shift in power. Can feel the temperature drop 10 degrees. Riker recovers faster than his partner. That's supposed to scare me? No. Dominic pulls out his phone. Holds it up so both officers can see the screen. This is, on the display, a live stream. Already running. 3,000 viewers. 5,000. Numbers climbing every second. The feed shows the bar from Dominic's angle. Shows the officers. Shows Naomi trapped behind counter. Shows everything. You've been live for the last 7 minutes, Dominic says. Every word. Every threat. Every moment you tried to intimidate a woman half your size for no reason except you could. Riker lunges forward. Give me that. Dominic steps back. One smooth motion. The phone stays in his hand. Out of reach. Touch me and it's assault. On camera. In front of witnesses. Think about your next move very carefully. Hale's hand is still near his weapon. You're interfering with an investigation. I'm documenting abuse of authority. Big difference. Dominic angles the phone to capture both their faces clearly. 7,000 viewers now. Want to tell them why you're really here? Or should I? We don't have to explain ourselves to you. No, but you'll have to explain yourselves to internal affairs. He taps the screen. Already sent the link to 3 different news outlets. Chicago Tribune picked it up 2 minutes ago. You're trending on Twitter. Congratulations. You're famous. The blood drains from Riker's face completely now. It looks like he might be sick. Around them, the crowd has shifted. The energy has changed. No longer spectators. Now, they're part of something. Justice happening in real time. Power reversing course. Someone near the back shouts. About time someone called out crooked cops. Another voice. Get in, man. The bar erupts. Not in violence. In solidarity. Phones held higher. Recording from every angle. Creating a web of evidence that can't be erased or denied or swept under bureaucratic rugs. Naomi's hands slowly unclench. Her breathing steadies. She's watching Dominic like she's seeing him for the first time. Not the monster. Not the ghost of Chicago. Just a man using his power to protect instead of destroy. Dominic doesn't take his eyes off the officers. Here's what happens next. You leave. Right now. You don't file false reports. You don't come back. You don't even think about Naomi Red again. He leans closer. voice dropping to something dangerous. Because if you do, this video is just the beginning. I have resources you can't imagine, connections you'll never see coming, and I will bury you so deep they'll need a mining crew to find what's left. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Riker tries one last time. You can't. I just did. Dominic raises the phone higher. 9,000 viewers. Want to make it 10? Silence. Then Riker turns, walks toward the door. Hale follows. Both men moving stiff. Humiliated. Stripped of the authority they'd been wielding like a weapon. The crowd parts for them. No one speaks. They just watch. Bear witness. Remember, when the door closes behind them, the bar explodes. Cheers. Applause. People shouting Dominic's name like he's a hero. He ignores all of it. Just turns off the stream. Pockets his phone. Walks back to Naomi. She's trembling. Full body shakes she can't control. Adrenaline crash hitting hard. You okay? He asks quietly. She nods. Lies. I'm fine. Naomi. I'm fine. Her voice cracks. I just need a minute. He reaches across the bar. Takes her hand. His palm is warm. Steady. Everything hers isn't. Take all the time you need. Around them, the celebration continues. People buying drinks. Toasting to justice. Already posting the video online. Already making this moment bigger than the room it happened in. But Naomi only sees Dominic. Only hears his voice saying her name like it's something precious. You didn't have to do that, she whispers. His expression cracks. Just for a second. Long enough for her to see the truth beneath. Yes, I did. If you felt chills during that confrontation, hit that like button right now. And tell me in the comments, would you have stood up or stayed silent? Let's talk about it. The video hits 1 million views by morning. Naomi watches her phone screen explode with notifications. Shares. Comments. Talks. The clip has been edited down to 3 minutes. Titled, Mystery Man Destroys Corrupt Cops with Just a Phone. Dominic's face is mostly shadowed in the footage. Unidentifiable. But his voice comes through clear. Every word. Every threat delivered with surgical precision. The Chicago Tribune runs it as breaking news. CNN picks it up by noon. Local stations can't stop talking about it. Everyone wants to know who the man in the black suit is. Everyone wants to interview the waitress who stood her ground. Naomi's phone rings for the 15th time. She doesn't answer. Just watches the number flash and fade. Watches her life become public property in real time. She's sitting in her apartment. Same yellow walls. Same chipped mugs. But everything feels different now. Heavier. Like the world outside is pressing against her windows, trying to get in. A knock at the door. She knows who it is before she opens it. Knows by the weight of the knock. The rhythm. The patience. Dominic stands in her hallway looking exactly like he did last night. Black suit. Winter eyes. Face carved from stone. But there's something different in his expression. Something raw. You shouldn't be here, she says. Probably not. The whole city's looking for you. Let them look. She steps aside, lets him in, closes the door, and leans against it. Her apartment feels smaller with him in it, like his presence takes up more space than his body. Officer Riker and Officer Hale were suspended pending investigation, Dominic says. Internal Affairs opened files on both. District Attorney is reviewing for possible charges. I know. I saw the news. Good. Silence fills the room. Not comfortable. Not exactly uncomfortable. Just heavy with things neither of them knows how to say. Naomi moves to the kitchen. Starts making coffee she doesn't want. Needs her hands busy. Needs something to do besides stand there feeling his eyes on her back. You used to kill people who crossed you, she says quietly. Yes. Now you use cameras. Times change. Or people do. He doesn't respond. She pours 2 cups. Hand him one. Their fingers brush. The contact feels electric. Dangerous. She pulls back too fast, and coffee sloshes over the rim. Careful. I'm fine. Naomi. She sets down the mug. Turns to face him fully. You can't keep doing this. Doing what? Protecting me. Riding in like some avenging angel every time someone looks at me wrong. It's not sustainable. It's not. She stops. Tries again. I'm not worth that kind of attention. His expression goes dark. Don't what? Don't diminish yourself. He sets his own mug down, steps closer. You think last night was about attention? About making a statement? Wasn't it? It was about you. His voice drops. Gets rough. It was about watching two men with badges try to break you down because they could, because they thought no one would stop them. And I've spent 8 years being the worst version of myself. But I swear to God, Naomi, I will not stand by and watch anyone make you feel small. The words hit her in the chest. Hard enough to hurt. Hard enough to make her eyes burn. I've done terrible things, he continues. Things I can't take back. Things that keep me up at night, wondering if I'm capable of being anything other than a monster. And then you look at me like maybe I could be. Like maybe there's something in me worth saving. Dominic, I don't need saving. He reaches out, cups her face, thumbs brushing away tears she didn't realize were falling. But you make me want to be better. And if using a camera instead of a gun means I can look at you without shame, then I'll use every camera in this city. Naomi closes her eyes, leans into his touch. I'm scared. Of me. Of this. Of what it means. Of what happens when the spotlight fades and it's just us and your world and all the things I don't understand. Then we'll figure out together. She opens her eyes, studies his face, the scars, the sharp angles, the weight he carries in the set of his jaw and the tension in his shoulders. He's right. He is a monster, has done monstrous things. Will probably do more before everything is finished. But he's also the man who stood between her and cruelty, who chose exposure over violence, who looked at her like she was something precious in a world that treated her like furniture. What if I can't handle your life? She asks. What if you can? That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. His hands drop to her shoulders, grip gently. I can't promise you safety. I can't promise you normal. But I can promise you'll never face anything alone. Her heart is trying to climb out her chest. Her hands shake when she reaches up to cover his. Even monsters need someone to come home to. He remembers. She can see it in his eyes. The words she said in her kitchen 3 weeks ago when she learned who he really was. When she chose to stay instead of run. You said that before. I meant it then. I mean it now. Something in him breaks. Cracks open like ice in spring. He pulls her close. Not forcefully. Just desperately. Like he's holding on to the only good thing in his life and terrified it'll slip away. Naomi wraps her arms around him, feels the tension in his back, the scars through his shirt, the weight of everything he's ever done pressing down on him like gravity. I don't know how to be loved, he whispers against her hair. Then let me teach you. They stand there in her tiny kitchen while the world outside keeps spinning, while the video keeps spreading, while their story becomes something bigger than them. And for the first time in 8 years, Dominic Vale lets himself believe he might be capable of something other than darkness. 3 days later, Naomi walks into Bar Verona and hands in her resignation. The manager stares at the paper like it's written in a foreign language. You're quitting? Yes. Because of what happened. Because I'm tired of surviving in silence. The words feel good. Feel right. She spent 2 years in this place, swallowing insults and forcing smiles and pretending it didn't chip away pieces of her soul every shift. And she's done. The manager tries to argue, offers a raise, better shifts, empty promises wrapped in panic because the viral video has brought attention to the bar. Good attention. People coming and asking to meet the waitress who stood up to corrupt cops. Asking where the mystery man in the suit sits. Naomi doesn't care. She thanks him politely. Walks out before he can guilt her into staying. Outside, Chicago is gray and cold. November wind cuts through her jacket. She stands on the sidewalk, breathing in freedom that tastes like rain and exhaust fumes and possibility. Her phone buzzes. Text from Dominic. Where are you? She types back. Outside Verona. Just quit. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Then, I'm proud of you. The words make her chest tight. Make her want to cry and laugh and scream all at once. She's never had someone be proud of her. Never had someone see her choices as brave instead of stupid. Another text. Meet me at the corner. 5 minutes. She walks, hand in pockets, head down against the wind. When she reaches the corner, a black car is already waiting. Dominic in the driver's seat. No bodyguards. No entourage. Just him. She slides into the passenger seat. Where are we going? You'll see. They drive in comfortable silence. Through downtown, past the river, into neighborhoods that get nicer with every block. Eventually, he pulls up to a building that's all glass and steel and money. What is this? Naomi asks. Opportunity. He turns off the engine, looks at her. How would you feel about running a bar? Her brain stutters. What? Bar Verona is for sale. Has been for 6 months. The owner's retiring. I made an offer this morning. He pulls papers from the inside of his jacket. It's yours if you want it. She stares at the documents. Then at him. You bought me a bar. I bought you a future. What you do with it is up to you. Dominic, I can't. You can. His expression is intense. Almost desperate. You can turn it into whatever you want. Fire the manager. Rehire the staff. Change the name. Make it a place where people like you don't have to swallow their dignity for a paycheck. Naomi's hands tremble when she takes the papers, scans the legal language, sees her name typed at the bottom, waiting for a signature. It's real. All of it. He's handing her the keys to a kingdom she never dreamed of ruling. Why? She whispers. Because you deserve to be more than what the world tried to make you. Tears spill over. She can't stop them. Can't hold back the wave of emotion crashing through her chest. Relief. Disbelief. Joy. Fear. Everything at once. I don't know how to run a business. You'll learn. What if I fail? Then you fail. And you try again. He reaches over. Takes her hand. But you won't. Because you're stronger than you think you are. She looks at him through blurred vision. This man who kills and threatens and operates in shadows. This man who's handing her sunlight like it's something he can afford to give away. What do you get out of this? She asks. You. The answer is simple. Honest. I get to watch you become everything you're capable of being. That's enough. Naomi wipes her eyes. Looks back at the papers. At her name, waiting to be claimed. At the future sitting in her lap, wrapped in legal binding. She signs. Dominic exhales like he's been holding his breath for days. There's one condition. Of course there is. Promise me you'll stop fighting your wars in the dark. She turns to face him fully. Start winning them in the light. Like you did with those cops. Like you just did for me. His expression shifts. Something vulnerable crossing his features. I've been in the dark for so long I forgot what the light looked like. Then let me remind you. He laughs. Actually laughs. The sound is rough and unpracticed, but real. You just turned a ghost into a man. Good. Men are easier to love than ghosts. The word hangs between them. Love. She said it without thinking. Without filtering. And now it's out there. Real. Undeniable. Dominic leans across the console. Kisses her forehead. Soft. Reverent. Like she's something holy. I don't know how to do this, he admits. Then we'll figure out together. They sit in the car while the city moves around them. Two people who shouldn't work. Who shouldn't fit. Who make sense only in the impossible space they've carved out between darkness and light. Bar Verona reopens 3 months later under new management. The transformation is complete. New paint, new furniture, new energy. The darkness that used to cling to the corners has been scrubbed away, replaced with something warmer, brighter, the kind of place where people come to celebrate instead of hide. Naomi stands behind the bar in clothes she chose. Black slacks, simple white shirt, hair down, no more red uniform, no more apron strings cutting in her waist. Just her. Finally, completely. The opening night crowd is packed. Familiar faces mixed with new ones. Journalists, locals, people who saw the video and wanted to see where it happened. Wanted to meet the woman who stood her ground. She pours drinks with steady hands. Smiles because she wants to, not because she has to. Marco works beside her. She kept him on, gave him a raise and actual respect. The rest of the staff is new. People she interviewed herself. People who understand that this place is different. Better. On the wall behind the bar, framed in simple black wood, hangs a quote in elegant script. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes it's the calm before power speaks. People keep asking about it. Keep taking pictures. It's already becoming the bar's signature. Its identity. Naomi doesn't tell them who chose the words. Doesn't explain the meaning. Just lets it exist. Lets people interpret it however they need. The door opens. Dominic walks in. He's dressed down tonight. No suit jacket, just black slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. Tattoos visible. Human. He moves through the crowd easily. No one recognizes him. The video kept his face too shadowed. He's still a ghost. Still invisible. Except to her. He takes his usual seat. Far corner. Away from the light. Old habits. Naomi brings him coffee without being asked. Black. No sugar. How's it feel, he asks. Terrifying. Good terrifying or bad terrifying? Both. She leans against the bar. Lets herself just look at him. Thank you. For all of this. You did the work. I just opened the door. Still. He reaches across. Traces the back of her hand with one finger. The touch is light. Almost shy. Nothing like the man who threatened corrupt cops with complete destruction. I'm proud of you, he says quietly. You already told me that. I'll keep telling you until you believe it. Around them, the bar hums with life. With energy. With the kind of hope that comes from watching someone rise instead of fall. People laugh. Toast. Celebrate. And in the corner booth, Dominic Vale sits watching the woman who taught him what quiet justice really means. He's still dangerous. Still operates in shadows. Still has enemies and blood on his hands and a past that can't be washed clean. But for the first time in 8 years, he's fighting for something instead of against everything. And that makes all the difference. 6 months pass like water. Bar Verona thrives. Becomes a staple. A destination. The place where justice happened and new beginnings took root. Naomi's face appears in local magazines. Small business features. Stories about women building empires from nothing. She handles it with the same quiet strength she's always had. Answers questions. Tells her story. Never mentions Dominic by name. Never reveals the ghost behind the curtain. Tonight the bar is quieter. Tuesday. Off-peak. Just a handful of regulars and one couple on a date in the back booth. Naomi wipes down the counter. Checks inventory. Does the small tasks that ground her. Remind her this is real. That she built this. That she survived and became something more. The door opens. Dominic walks in. Earlier than usual. There's something different in his expression. Something lighter. He sits. She pours coffee. They don't speak right away. Don't need to. 6 months of this routine has built its own language. One made of comfortable silences and small gestures and understanding that doesn't require words. Finally, I have something to tell you. Naomi's hands still. Good something or bad something. Different something. He pulls an envelope from his pocket. Sets it on the bar. I'm stepping back. Handing operations to someone else. Someone who can run things without me. Her heart stops. What does that mean? It means I'm tired of living in the dark. He meets her eyes. You asked me 6 months ago to fight in the light. I'm trying. It's slow. It's complicated. But I'm trying. Tears burn behind her eyes. She blinks to back. What will you do? I don't know yet. He smiles. Small. Genuine. Figured out as I go. Maybe find out who Dominic Vale is when he's not being the ghost of Chicago. That's terrifying. Yeah. His smile widens. Good terrifying or bad terrifying? She laughs through the tears. Both. He stands. Walks around the bar. Pulls her into his arms. She goes willingly. Wraps herself around him. Feels the steady beat of his heart against her ear. Thank you, he whispers. For what? For seeing me when I was invisible. For staying when you should have run. For teaching me that power without purpose is just destruction. Naomi pulls back. Looks up at him. Even monsters need someone to come home to. I'm not a monster anymore. No. She touches his face. You're just a man. And that's enough. Outside, dawn breaks over Chicago. Light spills through the windows. Touches the quote on the wall. Illuminates the empty bar and the 2 people standing in it. The night they tried to break her became the night she learned who stood in her silence. And in standing with her, he learned who he could become when he stopped hiding in shadows. Quiet justice. Not loud. Not violent. Just purposeful. And in the end, that's the kind of power that changes everything. If this story moved you, if Naomi and Dominic's journey touched something inside you, do 3 things right now. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we have more stories like this coming. Stories about resilience, justice, and the power of standing up even when the world tries to push you down. Second, comment quiet justice below so we know this story resonated with you. Your words inspire others. Your voice matters. And third, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's fighting their own battles in silence. Someone who needs to know that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it speaks in quiet moments that change everything. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, keep fighting in the light.